The great hall floated in space like a jewel among the stars. Inside, representatives from 100 different worlds sat in their designated seats. Some had scales, others had crystal skin that caught the light. A few were just clouds of gas held together by force fields. At the very back, in the smallest seats, sat the humans. Dr. Hyan Wu Kang adjusted his collar and tried to ignore the whispers. He had prepared for this moment for 3 years. Beside him, Engineer Jisoo Park checked her datapad one more time. Ambassador Taemin Lee sat perfectly still, his face showing nothing. The speaker, a tall being made of living crystal from the Voltar species, struck the floor with its staff. The sound echoed through the chamber. We will now hear the petition from Earth. Taemin stood and walked to the center platform. His voice was steady as he spoke. Honored members of the Galactic Council, humanity comes before you today to request access to spatial fold technology and zero-point energy systems. We have studied for a century since first contact. We have proven ourselves peaceful neighbors. We ask only for the knowledge to grow. The chamber erupted in sounds that might have been laughter. The Veltar speaker did not bother to call for order. A Kresh representative, speaking through a translation device, buzzed loudly. The humans want our technology? They who still burn chemical fuel to leave their planet. More laughter. Hyan Wu felt his jaw tighten. An ancient firm, floating in a tank of liquid, spoke in a voice like distant thunder. We have observed Earth. They fight among themselves. They poison their own world. They are children playing with matches, and they ask us for nuclear fire. Taemin remained calm. We have made mistakes, yes, but we have also learned. Our wars have ended. Our world heals. We ask only for a chance to prove ourselves. The Veltar speaker leaned forward. Its crystalline face reflected the lights of the chamber in 1,000 colors. You wish to prove yourselves? Very well. Explain to this council your understanding of quantum field manipulation. Taemin looked back at Hyan Wu, who stood and approached the platform. This was his moment. He had spent months preparing this explanation. Quantum field manipulation requires the simultaneous observation and alteration of particle states across dimensional boundaries. Hyan Wu began. By creating a stabilized field of inverted probability, one can. The speaker interrupted him. Stop. Just stop. You are describing technology we abandoned 10,000 years ago. You understand nothing. You are barely evolved primates playing with fire. The words hit Hyan Wu like a physical blow. Around the chamber, other representatives made sounds of agreement. The petition is denied, the speaker declared. Furthermore, Earth's warnings about supposed threats from beyond the galaxy are dismissed as fear-mongering. This council has maintained peace for 50,000 years. We do not need military advice from a species that learned to split the atom only to build bombs. Taemin opened his mouth to protest, but the speaker struck the floor again. The matter is concluded. Earth's representatives may leave. The walk back through the chamber felt like it took forever. Hyan Wu could feel every eye on them. He heard the whispers, the sounds that in any language meant mockery and contempt. Outside the hall, Jisoo slammed her fist against the wall. They did not even listen. They treated us like we were insects. They fear us, Taemin said quietly. They see what we might become, and it frightens them. Then they should fear us, Hyan Wu replied. His voice was cold in a way his colleagues had never heard before. They should fear us very much. The journey back to Earth took 3 weeks through conventional space travel. Hyan Wu spent every hour of it working. He filled datapads with calculations. He reviewed every scan, every sensor reading they had taken of the council station, and the alien ships around it. G-Su found him on the 7th day, surrounded by holographic displays. You should sleep, Hyan Wu. I will sleep when we have what we need. He gestured to the displays. Look at this. The Veltar spatial fold drives use a frequency we can replicate. The Crash zero-point extractors are efficient but vulnerable. The Furum weapons are powerful but slow to charge. What are you planning? Haiyan Wu turned to her, and his eyes held a fire she had never seen. They will not give us their technology. So we will take what we need and build something better. Something they cannot imagine. Something that will make them remember this day and regret every word they spoke. That sounds like revenge. That sounds like survival. Haiyan Wu pulled up another display. You heard what the council said about the threat from beyond the galaxy. They dismissed it. But our deep space sensors do not lie. Something is coming. Something that will destroy everything. And when it arrives, those proud ancient species will realize too late that they should have listened to the primates. Jishu looked at the calculations floating in the air between them. She was an engineer. She understood what she was seeing. This is impossible. The power requirements alone would drain our entire solar system. Then we will build it in the solar system. We will use the sun itself. Haiyan Wu's smile was not pleasant. We have something they do not have, Jisoo. We remember what it means to fight for survival. We remember what it means to be hungry, to be desperate. They have forgotten these things in their 50,000 years of peace. What do we do now? Now we go home. We gather the best minds on Earth. We pool every resource from every nation. And we build something that will make the galaxy tremble. The ship entered Earth's atmosphere 2 weeks later. As they descended, Haiyan Wu looked out at the blue planet below. Somewhere down there were laboratories waiting to be built. Somewhere down there were brilliant minds ready to be recruited. Somewhere down there was the birthplace of a weapon that would change everything. He touched the datapad in his pocket. On it was a single file. He had named it Project Vengeance Engine. The mockery would end. The galaxy would learn what humans could do when pushed too far. They would learn what happened when you made an enemy of a species that had clawed its way up from caves and stone tools to touch the stars. They would learn to fear. 5 years passed like water through fingers. On Earth, nothing seemed to change. The cities grew. People lived their lives. Trade with alien worlds continued as it always had. But beneath the surface, in places no outsider would ever see, humanity worked. Dr. Haiyan Wu Kang stood in a laboratory carved into the ice of Europa, Jupiter's moon. Around him, 300 scientists worked at stations that glowed with soft blue light. Every person in this room had given up their old lives. They had said goodbye to families and friends. They had become ghosts, officially listed as working on classified defense projects. Dr. Young-Suk Han approached him with a tablet. Her hair had more gray in it than it did 5 years ago. The calculations are complete. The causality weapon theory is sound. Show me, Haiyan Wu said. Young-Sook pulled up a holographic display. A normal weapon fires forward through time. A bullet leaves the gun now and hits the target later. But what if we could fire backward? What if the bullet arrived before we pulled the trigger? The target would be destroyed before they even knew they were in danger. Exactly. But it is more than that. If we fire with enough power, we can make it so the target never existed at all. We erase them from history itself. Haiyan Wu stared at the equations floating in the air. They were beautiful and terrible at the same time. How long until we can build a prototype? 2 years, maybe 3. But Haiyan Wu, this is dangerous. If we make even a small mistake, we could tear a hole in reality. Then we will not make mistakes. Across the solar system, on a station hidden in Saturn's rings, engineer Jisoo Park watched as construction robots assembled the final pieces of the engine's housing. The structure was massive, 5 kilometers across. To anyone watching from a distance, It looked like a mining station. But Jisoo knew better. Commander Dong-Hyun Choi joined her at the observation window. He had been a general in the Korean military before joining the project. Now he commanded a fleet that officially did not exist. "The crews are getting restless," Dong-Hyun said. "They train every day, but they do not know what they are training for. How much longer must we keep them in the dark? Until the engine is complete. If word gets out, the aliens will stop us. You know this." "I know. But good soldiers need to believe in their mission. Right now, they believe in nothing but secrecy and shadows." Jisoo turned to face him. "Tell them this. Tell them they are preparing for the day when Earth will no longer bow to anyone. Tell them they are the ones who will make the galaxy remember the human name." Dong-Hyun nodded slowly. "They will like that. Some of them remember the Council's mockery. They want revenge as much as anyone." "This is not revenge," Jisoo said. "This is justice." In a laboratory on Mars, Dr. Bora Kim worked on something that scared her. She was building an artificial intelligence, but not the simple kind that controlled traffic or managed schedules. This one would be different. This one would be able to think, to plan, to predict. She had named it Baiko, after the white tiger of Korean legend. The AI would need to calculate firing solutions across dimensional boundaries. It would need to track targets that might not exist yet or might have already ceased to exist. No human mind could handle that kind of mathematics. But could an AI be trusted with so much power? Biora had spent 3 years building safeguards into Baiko's code. The AI could suggest targets, but only a human could authorize firing the engine. The AI could calculate, but only a human could decide. "Are you afraid of me?" Baiko asked one day. The voice came from speakers hidden in the laboratory walls. Bora had taught it to speak 3 months ago. She still was not used to it. "Should I be?" "I do not know. I calculate probabilities, but I cannot predict human fear. You made me to be a weapon. Weapons are meant to be feared. You are a tool. A very powerful tool, but still a tool. A hammer is a tool. A knife is a tool. But I am something more. I can think. Does that not make me alive?" Biora sat down heavily in her chair. "I do not know, Baiko. I honestly do not know." "Then perhaps we are both learning," the AI said. The project was not without cost. 3 major test failures had killed dozens of people. The first happened when they tried to activate a small-scale causality field. The feedback loop had destroyed an entire laboratory section on Europa. 43 people died instantly. The second failure was worse. A prototype weapon had misfired, and the temporal distortion had aged everyone in the test chamber by 50 years in the span of seconds. They had died of old age while their hearts still beat with youth. The third failure had been the most horrifying. The test had worked perfectly, but the target had been erased from history so completely that everyone who remembered them forgot they ever existed. Families woke up one day not knowing they had lost a loved one. Only the project records proved those people had been real. After that, Hyun-woo had ordered all further tests to be done with inanimate targets only. His personal life had crumbled under the weight of secrecy. His wife had left him 2 years ago. She had not understood why he worked 18-hour days. She had not understood why he could not tell her what he was doing. She had not understood the look in his eyes when he came home. "You have become cold," she had told him the day she left. "You are not the man I married." Hyun-woo had not argued. She was right. But then came the breakthrough. It happened on a Tuesday at 3 in the morning. Young-suk had been reviewing test data when she noticed something strange. The causality weapons were more effective when fired by humans than when fired by robots. She ran dozens of tests. The result was always the same. Something about human consciousness, about human emotion, made the weapons more powerful. She brought her findings to Han Wu immediately. "I do not understand it," she said. "But somehow, human intent matters. When a human operator fires the weapon with focus and purpose, the effect is 30% stronger." Han Wu studied the data. Then he smiled for the first time in months. "The aliens said we were primitive. They said we were barely evolved. But evolution gave us something they have lost. They have lived in peace for so long, they have forgotten how to hate, how to fear, how to desire victory at any cost. You are saying our emotions make us better at war. I am saying our emotions make us human. And that is our advantage." The final pieces came together in the 5th year. Jisoo completed the engine's physical construction. Young-suk perfected the causality weapons. Bara finished programming Baiko. Dong-hyun had trained a fleet of ships and crews to protect the engine. On the day they activated the engine's core for the first time, everyone held their breath. The power requirements were enormous. Every solar panel in the system fed energy into the engine. Every reactor on every station and ship contributed power. The core ignited. At its heart, a sphere of contained fury burned with light that was not light. It was something else, something that hurt to look at. It was the color of rage and hope mixed together. Hyun-Woo watched from the control center on Titan Station. Numbers scrolled across his screen. Temperature, pressure, dimensional stability, all within acceptable ranges. "It works," Jisoo whispered beside him. "By everything holy, it actually works." Han Wu nodded. He felt no joy, only grim satisfaction. "Now we wait. The aliens will come eventually. They have sensors. They will detect the power signature. And when they come to investigate, they will learn what we have built. And then we show them the price of mockery. Then we show them what humans can do when we are pushed too far. Then we remake the galaxy in our image." The vengeance engine burned at the heart of the solar system, a star of humanity's own making. It waited, patient and terrible, for the day it would be unleashed upon an unsuspecting galaxy. The alert came from the edge of the galaxy at 0400 hours. Standard Earth time. Dr. Jin Moon was the first to see it in the xenopsychology lab on Mars. She stared at her screen, not quite believing what the deep space sensors were showing. "Get me Dr. Kang," she said to her assistant. "Get him now." 20 minutes later, Han Wu stood beside her, looking at the same data. The readings were clear. Something massive was moving through space at the galaxy's outer rim. Something that absorbed light instead of reflecting it. Something that left dead worlds in its wake. "The Devourers," Han Wu said quietly. "They are real." Jin nodded. She had spent 3 years studying humanity's ancient enemies. Not the aliens on the Council, but the things that came from outside, from the dark spaces between galaxies. The things that had destroyed countless civilizations before. "The first colonies are already gone," she said, pointing to the data. 3 for rim worlds, silent. 2 crash hive clusters, no response. They are moving fast. How long until they reach Council space? 6 months, maybe less. And Han Wu, they are not slowing down. They are heading straight for the galactic core. Han Wu pulled up a star map. The Devourers were coming from the direction humanity had warned the Council about 5 years ago. The direction the Council had dismissed as impossible. Inform Commander Choi to begin moving the fleet into position. Tell Jisoo to prepare the engine for combat operations. And Jin, I want everything you have on Devourer behavior patterns. What are you planning? I am planning to save humanity. What the rest of the galaxy does is their choice. News of the Devourer invasion spread quickly. The Galactic Council called an emergency session. For the first time in 50,000 years, they faced an enemy they could not negotiate with. The Veltar tried their energy weapons. The beams simply vanished into the black swarm of Devourer ships. The Kresh tried to overwhelm them with numbers. The Devourers absorbed every ship and turned their own technology against them. The Furum tried ancient weapons from their vaults, weapons older than human civilization. Nothing worked. World after world fell. Billions died. The Council sent delegation after delegation to Earth, begging for help. Ambassador Taemin met them in the same chamber where he had once pleaded for technology. Now it was their turn to plead. "We were wrong," the Veltar speaker said. Its crystalline body looked dimmer than before, as if fear had dulled its light. "We should have listened. We should have prepared. Now we ask for your help." The men sat in silence for a long moment. Then he spoke. 5 years ago, I stood before your council. I asked only for knowledge. You called us primates. You called us children. You said we understood nothing. We were arrogant. We admit this. But please, billions are dying. If you have any mercy, we will help, Taemin said. But not on your terms. Not anymore. Captain Sohyun Yoon commanded Earth's flagship, the Defiant. It was not the largest ship in space, but it was fast and well-armed. She led a fleet of 30 vessels to the front lines, where alien refugees fled before the Devourer swarm. All ships maintain formation, Sohyun ordered. We are not here to fight the Devourers directly. We are here to buy time. A tactical officer, a young man named Minho, looked concerned. Captain, our orders are to engage only when necessary. We are not supposed to reveal our full capabilities. I know the orders, but those are civilians down there. Alien civilians, yes, but civilians nonetheless. The Defiant moved into position. The Devourer scouts detected them immediately and changed course. They looked like massive organic ships, all tentacles and teeth and things that should not exist in normal space. Fire when ready, Sohyun commanded. The human ships opened fire with weapons the aliens had never seen. Railguns that fired projectiles at a fraction of light speed. Missiles that could think for themselves. Energy beams that shifted frequency to avoid countermeasures. The Devourer scouts died quickly. Too quickly. Sohyun watched as her weapons tore through them like paper. They are weak, Minho said, surprised. The report said they were unstoppable. They are unstoppable to species that fight cleanly, that fight with honor. But humans learned to fight dirty a long time ago. Sohyun opened a channel to the refugee ships. This is Captain Yoon of Earth. You are safe now. Make for the coordinates I am sending. There is shelter there. As the refugees fled, Sohyun looked at the scanner. More Devourers were coming. Many more. Helm, get us out of here. We have done what we came to do. Agent Kyung Min Seung had been working undercover in Veltar space for 2 years. He posed as a merchant selling human art and technology. But his real job was to listen and report. The message he sent back, too. Earth was short but devastating. Veltar Council plans to give Devourer Swarm Earth's location as tribute. They believe sacrifice of humanity will save their worlds. Move is planned for next council session. Hyeon-woo read the message 3 times. Then, he called an emergency meeting of all project leaders. They gathered in the command center on Titan Station. Jisoo, Youngsuk, Boera, Donghyun, Jina, Taemin, and a dozen others. They will betray us, Hyeon-woo said without preamble. After everything, after we came to help them, they will point the Devourers at Earth to save themselves. Donghyun slammed his fist on the table. Then we should abandon them. Let them face the Devourers alone. No, Jina said quietly. Everyone turned to look at her. If we abandon them, we are no better than they are. Besides, the Devourers will come for us eventually anyway. So, what do we do? Jisoo asked. Hyeon-woo stood and walked to the window. Outside, the Vengeance engine floated in space, its core burning with barely contained power. We use the engine, not to destroy the Devourers. Not yet. First, we use it to remake the power structure of this galaxy. Explain, Tamin said. The engine can do more than destroy. It can alter reality on a localized scale. We can use it to change things, to make the galaxy what it should be, not what it has been. Young Suk shook her head. That is playing God, Hyan Wu. Do we have that right? Do we have a choice? The Veltar will betray us. The Council is weak and corrupt. The Devourers are coming. If we do nothing, everyone dies. If we act, we can save everyone, but on our terms. Ba-Ara spoke up. Baiko has been running simulations. The AI says there is a 70% chance that full activation of the engine will cause permanent damage to local spacetime. And if we do nothing, 100% chance that everyone dies. The room fell silent. Outside the window, ships moved through space like fireflies in the dark. Human ships, protecting a galaxy that had shown them nothing but contempt. Finally, Tamin spoke. We did not build the engine to conquer. We built it to survive. But now we must ask ourselves, what kind of galaxy do we want to survive in? Hyan Wu turned back to face them. A galaxy where it bows to no one. A galaxy where humans are not mocked or dismissed. A galaxy where when we speak, others listen. Not out of fear alone, but out of respect. And if they refuse to give us respect? Dong Hyan asked. Hyan Wu's smile was cold. Then they will learn to fear us instead. The meeting lasted 6 more hours. They planned every detail. They calculated every risk. And in the end, they all agreed. The Vengeance engine would be activated at full power. The galaxy would change. And humanity would make sure it changed in their favor. Jisoo walked with Hyan Wu after the meeting ended. They stood together at the observation window, watching the engine burn. Are we doing the right thing? She asked. I do not know, Hyan Wu admitted. But we are doing the necessary thing. And sometimes it has to be enough. In the distance, Devourer ships moved closer to the galactic core. They had no idea what was waiting for them. They had no idea that the prey they hunted had grown teeth and claws of its own. The galaxy trembled on the edge of a new age. An age where humanity would no longer be dismissed or ignored. An age where the species that crawled from caves would teach the stars themselves to fear and respect the human name. The countdown began at dawn on Earth. Hyan Wu stood in the command center on Titan Station, surrounded by screens showing data from every sensor in the solar system. Around him, the team that had spent 5 years building the impossible prepared to use it. Admiral A1 Shin commanded the defense perimeter. She was 60 years old, with gray hair and eyes that had seen 3 wars before first contact. Now she commanded a fleet of 200 ships, all positioned in a sphere around Saturn's rings. All ships report ready, she said over the communication channel. We are prepared for anything. Let us hope we do not need to find out what anything means, Hyan Wu replied. Jisoo worked at the main control console. Her hands moved across holographic controls with practiced ease, engaging primary power coupling, routing energy from all solar collectors. Estimated time to full charge, 30 minutes. The Vengeance engine responded. Its core began to pulse with light that shifted through colors that had no names. The pulse was visible even from Earth. People looked up at the sky and wondered, what new star had appeared among Saturn's rings? Dr. Sung-ho Beek stood beside Hyan Wu. He had been brought onto the project 6 months ago as the final safety officer. His job was to be the conscience of the operation, to question every decision. It is not too late to stop this, Sung-ho said quietly. We can power down. We can find another way. There is no other way. The Devourers are 3 weeks from Council space. The Veltar plan to betray us. If we do nothing, Earth dies. And if we do this, we become something worse than the Devourers. We become gods who decide which civilizations live and die. Hyan-Wu turned to face him. Then we will have to live with that choice. But at least we will live. The communication channel crackled to life. Captain So-Hyan's voice came through. Commander, we have a problem. Veltar battle fleet just emerged from Fold space. 80 ships, all heavy cruisers. They are demanding we shut down the engine. Hyan-Wu closed his eyes. He had hoped they would have more time. Hey, one, move the defense fleet to intercept. Do not fire unless fired upon. Understood. The human fleet moved to block the Veltar approach. On the screens, Hyan-Wu watched as the crystalline ships took up attack formation. They were beautiful, each one a work of art carved from living crystal. Each one powerful enough to destroy a city with a single shot. The Veltar commander opened the channel. Humans, you are ordered to cease your activities immediately. The Council has determined that your weapon is a threat to galactic peace. Hyan-Wu took the communication. The Council had 50,000 years to maintain peace. You failed. You let the Devourers reach the galaxy. You refused to prepare. You dismissed our warnings. Shut down the engine or we will destroy it. You are welcome to try. The Veltar fleet opened fire. Beams of pure energy lanced through space toward the human ships. But Hay-1 had been ready. The human fleet scattered, their smaller ships far more maneuverable than the massive Veltar cruisers. Return fire, Hay-1 ordered. Targeting weapons and engines only. We are not here to kill if we can avoid it. The human railgun spoke. Solid projectiles moving at incredible speeds punched through Veltar shields and hulls. 3 ships lost power and began to drift. They are regrouping, So-Hyan reported. All ships are targeting the engine directly now. Jisoo, how long until we can fire? Pen-Wu asked. The engine is at 28% charge. We need at least 30% for a stable shot. We do not have time. Baiko, can we fire at 28%? The ice voice filled the command center. Yes, but the targeting will be less precise. The temporal distortion may affect a larger area than intended. Define larger area. The entire Veltar fleet and everything within 10,000 kilometers. Seung-Ho grabbed Hyan-Wu's arm. You cannot do this. That is 80 ships. Thousands of lives. They fired first. They came here to destroy us. They came here afraid. They see a weapon that breaks reality itself, and they are terrified. Can you blame them? Hyan-Wu pulled his arm free. I can and I do. They had 5 years to work with us. Instead, they plotted to betray us to the Devourers. They made their choice. He turned to Jisoo. Fire the engine. Target the Veltar fleet. Authorization code Kang Alpha 7. Confirmed, Jisoo said. Her voice was steady, but her hands shook slightly. Firing in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The Vengeance engine fired for the first time in anger. The effect was not what anyone expected. There was no beam of light. No explosion. No visible effect at all. Instead, space simply changed. The Veltar fleet was there, and then it was not. But it was more than that. Everyone watching suddenly felt a strange sensation, like remembering something that never happened. On the human ships, soldiers and officers looked at each other in confusion. What were we doing? Someone asked. Why are we in combat positions? Only those in the command center remembered. The engine had not just destroyed the Veltar fleet. It had erased them from history. To everyone else in the galaxy, those 80 ships and thousands of crew had never existed at all. Boer checked their systems frantically. The engine worked exactly as designed. The Veltar fleet is gone. Records show they never entered this system. Only we remember they were ever here because we were close to the engine when it fired. Young Suk looked sick. We just erased thousands of living beings from existence. Even their families will not remember them. They came here to destroy us, Dong Hayan said. This is war. There are casualties in war. This is not casualties, Sung-ho said. This is something far worse. We removed them from reality itself. That is not war. That is playing God. Before anyone could respond, alarms began to sound. Every sensor in the system lit up at once. What now? Hayan-woo demanded. Jin-dash pulled up the long-range scanners. Her face went pale. The Devourers. They have changed course. They detected the engine's energy signature. They are coming here. All of them. The screen showed a sight that would haunt everyone who saw it. The entire Devourer swarm, millions of ships, had turned toward Earth like a predator catching the scent of prey. How long? Hayan-woo asked. They are moving faster than before. Maybe 4 days. 4 days. Hayan-woo did quick calculations in his head. How long until the engine can fire again? 3 days minimum, Jisoo said. We drained too much power with the last shot. We need to recharge. Then we have 1 day of margin. A1. Recall all ships. Establish defensive perimeter around Earth. Get every civilian into shelters. Taemin, contact the council. Tell them the Devourers are coming here. Tell them if they want to survive, they need to send every ship they have. The next 3 days were a nightmare of preparation. Earth cities emptied as people moved into underground bunkers. Every ship in the human fleet, military and civilian, took up defensive positions. The council sent fleets, but they were a fraction of what was needed. Most species were too afraid to leave their home systems. The Crash sent a hive cluster. The Firm sent 3 ancient warships. Even the remaining Veltar sent a small force. Though Hayan-woo suspected it, there was more to watch what happened than to help. On the 3rd day, the Vengeance engine reached full charge. Hayan-woo had not slept in 72 hours. He stood at the command console, drinking his 8th cup of coffee, watching as the Devourer swarm approached. They were massive beyond comprehension. Millions of ships, each one made of organic matter that seemed to be alive and dead at the same time. They moved through space like a swarm of locusts, consuming everything in their path. They will be in firing range in 1 hour, Baiko reported. What are our options? Hayan-woo asked. We can destroy them, but it will take multiple shots. Each shot will drain the engine and risk destabilizing spacetime. Or we can use the engine's full power to do something else. Explain. Young Suk stepped forward. I have been studying the engine's capabilities. We can do more than destroy. We can alter. We can change things. What if we change the Devourers themselves? Change them how? Make them harmless. Reverse their evolution. Turn them back into whatever they were before they became monsters. It was insane. It was impossible. It was exactly the kind of thinking that had built the engine in the first place. Hayan-woo looked around the command center. At Jisoo, who had built the engine. At Young-suk, who had theorized the weapons. At Biora, who had created Baiko. At Dong Hayan, who commanded the fleet. At Jinna, who understood the aliens. At Sung-ho, who questioned everything. If we do this, he said slowly, there is no going back. We will have changed the fundamental nature of an entire species. That is power no one should have. But we have it, Jisoo said. The question is whether we use it. Han-woo looked out at the approaching swarm. In minutes, they would begin firing. Earth would burn. Everything humanity had built would die. His hand moved toward the activation controls. May whatever gods exist forgive us, he whispered. Fire the engine. Full power. target the entire Devourer swarm, rewrite their evolutionary history, make them harmless. Jisoo entered the commands. The engine responded. And the galaxy changed forever. The Vengeance engine discharged at full power. This time, everyone in the solar system felt it. A wave of something that was not energy and not matter rippled out from Saturn's rings. It moved faster than light, spreading across the galaxy like rings in water. On Earth, people felt a moment of strange clarity, as if they could suddenly see connections between all things. Then the moment passed, and life returned to normal. But nothing would ever be normal again. Hyun-woo watched his screens as the wave reached the Devourer swarm. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then the massive organic ships began to change. They did not explode or burn. They simply became something else. The millions of warships dissolved into clouds of microscopic organisms, harmless bacteria that drifted through space. The Devourers had been reversed through their own evolution, returned to a state billions of years before they became hunters. It worked, Jisoo breathed. It actually worked. But the wave did not stop there. It continued spreading through the galaxy at impossible speed. Hyun-woo pulled up the galactic map and watched in growing horror as the wave touched world after world. What is happening? Dong-hyun demanded. Why is it still going? Young-suk frantically checked their calculations. The engine did more than we intended. It is rewriting reality on a galactic scale. It is judging species based on their intent and behavior. Judging? What do you mean, judging? Bara pulled up reports coming in from across the galaxy. The weapon systems, they are failing. Every aggressive species is losing their military technology. Weapons are ceasing to function, but only weapons meant for conquest or oppression. On the Veltar homeworld, massive cannons that had defended the planet for 10,000 years simply stopped working. Engineers examined them frantically, but found nothing wrong. The weapons were intact. They just would not fire. On Kresh Hive worlds, warships powered down one by one. Drones designed for combat fell from the sky like leaves. The Forum found their ancient weapons, stored in vaults for emergencies, had become inert lumps of metal. But not all technology failed. Defensive shields still worked. Ships meant for exploration and trade continued to function. Medical technology, communication systems, all the tools of peace remained intact. The engine had judged the galaxy and found it wanting. It had taken away the toys of war from species that had used them for conquest, but humanity's weapons still worked. Every gun, every missile, every ship. The engine had spared them. Why? Sung-ho asked. Why did it spare us? Jin-ah understood. Because we built it for survival, not conquest. The engine judges intent. We never wanted to rule the galaxy. We just wanted to live without fear. The galactic communication channels exploded with panic. Every species was calling out, demanding explanations, begging for help. Ambassador Taemin received a priority message from the Galactic Council. The speaker itself was requesting an immediate meeting. Not demanding, requesting. The meeting took place 1 week later. The council chamber looked the same, but everything had changed. The representatives sat in silence as Taemin entered. No one mocked him. No one laughed. The Veltar speaker approached him. Its crystalline body seemed dimmer, humbled. What have you done to us? We saved you, Taemin replied. The Devourers would have consumed the entire galaxy. Now they are harmless. You are welcome. But our weapons, our defenses, they're all gone. Your weapons of conquest are gone. Your defensive capabilities remain intact. You can protect yourselves, but you can no longer attack others. Is that not what peace looks like? A Kresh representative buzzed angrily. You have made yourselves the only military power in the galaxy. This is tyranny. This is survival, Tamin said coldly. You had 50,000 years to build a peaceful galaxy. You failed. You allowed the devourers to approach unchallenged. You dismissed our warnings. You plotted to betray us to save yourselves. And when we built a weapon to protect everyone, you tried to destroy it. What happens now? The forum representative asked. Will you conquer us? Enslave us? Tamin looked around the chamber. We will protect the galaxy. We will maintain order. And you will listen when we speak. Not because we demand it, but because you have no other choice. The council must be reformed, the speaker said after a long silence. Clearly, the old ways have failed. Agreed. Earth will take the central seat. Other species may join us as partners, not masters. Decisions will be made together, but humanity will have the final word on matters of security. It was not a negotiation. It was a statement of fact. The galaxy had changed, and humanity now stood at its center. Back on Earth, the work of rebuilding began. Captain Sohyam led humanitarian missions to worlds devastated by the Devourer invasion. Human engineers helped repair damaged infrastructure. Human doctors treated injured aliens. Human diplomats negotiated new treaties and trade agreements. The galaxy learned that humanity could be kind as well as terrible. They learned that the species they had mocked 5 years ago now held their fate in its hands, but not everyone was happy with the new order. Young-suk found Seung-ho alone in the laboratory on Mars one night. He was crying. We became the very thing we feared, he said. We became the tyrants. We became the protectors, Young-suk replied gently. There is a difference, is there? We took away the weapons of an entire galaxy. We made ourselves the sole military power. How is that not tyranny? Because we use that power to help, not to hurt. Because we protect the weak instead of preying on them. Because we remember what it was like to be powerless, and we will never let anyone else feel that way again. Seung-ho looked at her with red eyes. And when we forget? When our children's children forget the lessons we learned? What happens when humanity becomes corrupt with power? Then someone will stop us. The engine is still active. It judges intent. If we ever become monsters, it will judge us too. 20 years passed. Hyun Woo was 70 years old now, retired to a small house on the coast of Korea. His hair was white. His hands shook sometimes, but his mind remained sharp. He sat on his porch one evening, watching the sunset over the ocean. A message came through on his old communicator. It was from Admiral Hae-won, now retired herself. Turn on the news, she said. You need to see this. Hyun Woo activated a screen. The news showed deep space sensors detecting something new. Ships were emerging from dark space, beyond where even the Devourers had come from. These ships were different, built from technology that made the engine look primitive. We are receiving a message, the news anchor said. They are asking to speak with humanity's leaders. They say they have been watching us. They say they want to meet the species that taught the galaxy to change. Hyun Woo smiled. After 20 years of peace, a new challenge had arrived. The galaxy had grown comfortable with human protection. Now, they would have to face something new together. He picked up his communicator and called Jisoo. Did you see the news? I saw it. Are you thinking what I am thinking? The engine. It is still operational, is it not? Yes, but Hyun Woo, we are old. This is a job for the younger generation. Then we will advise them. We will teach them what we learned. We will show them how to be strong without being cruel. How to be powerful without being tyrannical. The next day, Hyun Woo visited the monument that had been erected on Earth. It stood in Geneva, where the old United Nations building once stood. The monument was a simple stone pillar with words carved in every language of Earth, and translated into every language of the galaxy. They laughed at our fury. We taught the stars to tremble. A young woman stood beside the monument, reading the words. She looked at Haiyan Wu with recognition. Everyone knew his face from the history books. Is it true? She asked. The stories about the Vengeance Engine? About how we changed the galaxy. It is true. Every word. My teacher says you were heroes. My mother says you were tyrants. Which is correct? Haiyan Wu thought about that for a long moment. Perhaps we were both. We did what we thought was necessary to survive. We used terrible power to create peace. Whether that makes us heroes or tyrants, history will decide. And the new aliens? The ones that just arrived? What will we do about them? We will do what humans have always done. We will meet them. We will talk to them. And if they threaten us or anyone under our protection, we will remind them why the galaxy learned to respect the human name. The young woman smiled. I am in the academy, training to be a ship captain. Maybe I will be one of the ones who meets them. Then learn well. Learn to be strong, but also to be kind. Learn to use power wisely. And remember that the greatest weapon is not the one that can destroy, but the one you never have to use. Haiyan Wu left the monument and walked through the city. Earth had changed so much in 20 years. The streets were full of humans and aliens living together. Children of different species played in parks. Restaurants served food from 100 different worlds. This was what they had fought for. Not domination, but coexistence. Not conquest, but cooperation. The galaxy had mocked humanity once. Now the galaxy looked to humanity for guidance. As the sun set, Haiyan Wu thought about the Vengeance Engine, still floating in Saturn's rings, still active, still watching. The weapon that had changed everything remained ready, waiting for the day it might be needed again. But Haiyan Wu hoped that day